Welcome to Backstage Lowdown. I'm Andrew Stewart. My co-host Lance Dawson, he's on hiatus, but we've got a very special episode for you today. We've got Charlie Angus in the house. You might remember him as early 80s punk rocker from L'Étranger, and as well too, he may have been your MP at one point. Now he is with the Grievous Angels, who are going to be the opening act, which will set the tone for the entire festival at Strummerfest 2026, Uptown Waterloo. This episode is sponsored by Look Digital Marketing. From stunning websites to full service digital marketing, they help your business shine online. See the difference with Look Digital Marketing. Visit lookmarketing.ca today. Look no further. Now, here we go. Hey, Charlie.
How's that?
There we go. Welcome to
Is that
Backstage
okay?
Lowdown. Yeah, that's fine.
Awesome.
So I understand that you're from Cobalt. Are you still up
Yes.
there?
Sorry, what?
You're still up there?
Yeah, I live in Cobalt. I live in
Yeah.
an old abandoned mine property.
I was actually up there not like a month ago.
Oh yeah.
And I went up to spend a long weekend doing some photography in the area and kind of taking the whole area. I ended up having a breakfast at the Silver Cafe.
Yeah.
Fantastic breakfast. I don't know. I take it you've been there. It seems like there's only a couple places to eat breakfast there.
Yeah. I've been there 1,000 times, and my
I
daughter
can
runs the cafe across the road.
Oh, no way.
The silver,
The
the lavender
tables that they
fox.
have there are those are all original art?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like I was
Yeah.
sitting there looking at my table and kind of like, this looks like an actual painting, and then looked over to the couple tables across from me, and each individual table was looked hand painted. So that's very cool. Then I went across to the bookstore publishing house, White Mountain.
Yep.
And this was the first time that I have actually ever had a tour of a bookstore.
Yeah. 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 Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the lady
Deborah's
was
hilarious.
wonderful. She goes, "Can I show you around?" And
Yeah.
we ended up like she took me through each section. I actually thought I was done the tour. And then there's another section in the back that's three times the size.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And no, it was kind of cool to get away up there. It's a
Was the
nice little
lavender
town.
fox open? When were you there?
No, I if it was I didn't get there. So it
Well,
was
you missed. It's wild in there. My daughter runs it, but it's an old mine. It's an old mine, and
oh, no way. That's really
it's
cool.
exquisite in there. I'm one of her carpenters. I was doing
Oh,
carpentry for her this morning.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, very, very cool. So you're going to be opening Strummerfest this year. Very happy to have you. Your music career began in the early 80s, if I'm correct, with L'Étranger, if I'm pronouncing that correct.
Yep. We left school in the summer of 1980. Got in a 1969 Econoline van and started to cross the country to explore this nation, and I'm still exploring this nation. So that was the beginning. We all just quit school, and we were
That's
17,
crazy.
hit the road.
Not
Yeah.
not long ago. Well, actually, Ron Hawkins from Lowest of the Low, he's been on our show a couple times. And he actually referenced your band as the one that aspired him with Lowest of the Low, hoping that they could ascend to your level. Which
Well, I remember them opening for us their first gig at the Cabana Room,
oh,
and
no way. I didn't
yeah,
realize that they had opened for you as well too.
yeah,
That's
I think it was their
wild.
first gig. Yeah,
No, that's pretty crazy.
and
Um,
and for this album, we were talking about the art, and I said let's ask Ron Hawkins to do it. I said he's gonna get it right away, and he got it right away.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, no, he's a fantastic artist. I follow a lot of his work online. Now you're with the Grievous Angels. Some people might just know you as your work in politics. Uh, how do you now introduce your music to those folks that have never heard it before?
Well, I mean, the Grievous Angels, I think, are a Canadian institution. I mean, we've been around for coming on 40 years of touring and traveling. I mean, I always joked that politics was my day job, but my main focus always was telling the story of the people we met and traveled. And, the band has changed a lot over the years. I mean, I think before we were kind of like this hoser Northern party band who sang songs about working class towns because nobody else ever bothered to sing songs about northern working class towns. Nobody else seemed all that interested in writing about what it was like to work 6,000 feet underground. To me, I find working class people just way more interesting. I love the communities. I love the spirit. I love the heartbreak. Um, I tried to do that in politics to some extent. The Angels came back in a big way, I think, at around 2019. The band
Mhm.
got tired of waiting for me, so they started doing basically a Grievous Angels cover band and invited me down for a weekend. And they were already playing all these songs. And I thought, I've given up so much. I mean, politics was important, but I'd given up too much time, I think, away from what was always fundamental to me was to sing these songs, to tell these stories. So we started to play. We got most of the old lineup, but some really strong, hardcore new players. And we've done 3 albums in the last 6 years. And it's interesting, the albums I think are getting progressively more political because the times are getting very, very political and very serious.
No, I'd agree. I think that's maybe what kind of where the heart of Strummerfest comes from in terms of the music, the community, uh, the memory of Joe Strummer and the work that's done in the community. And it's really got it's got a punk rock energy. You're going to hear ska, you're going to hear punk, you're going to hear
Yeah.
alternative music, little Americana mixed in there as well too. And it gives the independent musician a stage to actually perform on.
I think it's really important. And, I love the idea that it's Strummerfest. Joe Strummer changed my life. There was the world that I knew, a world that seemed really beige and gray and not a lot of options. And I remember the first time I put on that first Clash album and realizing it didn't have to be that way. And I think what Joe Strummer brought to art was the passion to say, you don't have to be the greatest singer. You don't have to have all the licks down on your guitar. In fact, often the people who play the best and sing the best are absolutely boring because,
Yeah.
yeah, they're technically great. Joe said you had to bring passion, and if you had passion, you had a right to get up on stage. If you had a belief in what you were doing, you should get up and do it. And we set out to do that. That's what I've done all my life. I mean, I've never been a great musician, I don't think. I fell into singing because our female singer left the band on the eve of a national tour, and I was the only one who knew the words. But it's about passion, and it's about showing up and not being afraid, to get out in front of like 10 people to 2,000 to 20,000 and saying, we've got something to offer here and we're going to deliver it. And the band right now is more on fire than I've ever, in all my years, we've had crazy iterations of the band. We've played crazy shows, but this band is focused, laser focused. It's amazing playing with them.
That's very special. Like this year, we've got such a mix of bands that are coming to Strummerfest. There are kids as young as 13 years old who
Great.
grew up with this music through their parents, listening to their parents spin the Clash and Mascaleros and so forth on their sound systems. And we're now actually making their own music, who actually now have a voice, and it's fantastic that that we can actually give them the opportunity to be on that stage on for the Saturday lineup. I think it's probably their first big show that they've had.
Well, I mean, it's also a great region for music. Some of our first big punk shows were on the road playing Waterloo, Kitchener. I mean, I always like to say the very first bottle that was ever thrown at my head was thrown at the Kent Hotel, and that was education. That was my education in life. And there was a joke in our office when I was in Parliament.
Yeah.
Elected 7 times in a row, and after every single election, the Library of Parliament would call the office and say, "We've been looking at Mr. Angus's bio and we noticed that he hasn't put up his academic credentials." And my staff would roll their eyes and say, "Do you want to answer this?" And I'd say, "Put down Punk Rock University." And they never put down Punk Rock University, but it was places like the Kent Hotel getting a bottle thrown at my head. And I think the next time was coming off the Dead Kennedys, where it was absolutely insane. And we were covered in spit and gob and hopped in the van and drove to Kitchener Waterloo and that was the first time the Rail Statics ever played on the road, and they were opening for us and they had to play late because we were coming late from playing for the Dead Kennedys. That's education. That is life. That's where you
Oh yeah.
learn what matters.
I think that's uh, where a lot of stories of life really come from. And I'm just wondering, is that sometimes where you reach for when the band is writing lyrics to maybe those early days on the road, or or even growing up living in a small town, to the working class individuals that find themselves 100 feet under the earth?
Well, I think for me, what I always took from it was the spirit. What we didn't want to be in the Grievous Angels was derivative. People say, "Oh, you play Graham Parsons songs." It's like, no, we just like the song. We're not a Graham Parsons tribute band. "Oh, are you guys really punk? You got accordion and you're doing stuff with acoustic guitar too." It's like, well, we were doing stuff with acoustic guitar when we were a punk band. To me, it's the spirit. It's the DIY spirit and the honesty that punk taught me, and that's what I was listening to a song. It came up on my feed the other night. Okay, I'm going to give another Waterloo reference. It was shot, I think, at a club in London or in Waterloo, and it was our band playing this one of our songs from our second EP when we were about 20
Hmm.
years old. And I was astounded when I listened to the lyrics because I still believe that. The ending of the song is, "I wish there was a Mother Goose ending that turned Cadillacs back into pumpkins and a Mother Goose ending that turned empty hearted rulers back into rats once again." I still believe that. And so I just write. I think I write with the maturity of age. I'm interested in writing about other people. I don't write about
Hmm.
myself. I'm only in the song if I'm a character. I find a lot of singer songwriters think if we hear about their depression and their broken romance, it's going to change the world. I don't think so. I think you change the world as an artist by thinking, what are other people dealing with? What are they dealing with? And again, living in a mining town, to see the heartbreak, to see the heroism. I love these people. And I think,
Yeah.
yeah, so we got, songs about working 5,000 feet down the number 3 shaft. And they seem to work. And what's amazing, they work for audiences across the country because people know if the song is true or it's not.
Yeah. I've been listening to your music quite a bit over the last few months. And I find that your music, it isn't necessarily specific to one genre. You guys kind of, you know, urban flow through several different genres. Now, is that intentional, or is it just the feeling that you get at that particular time as to how that song is going to be played?
Well, I mean, we come with a lot of experience. I mean,
Hmm.
Peter Gillard, our multi instrumentalist. I mean, he's played with everybody. Traditional Cajun groups, Celtic, Quebecois. He's a monster rock and roll player. Tim Hadley toured with Stompin' Tom for a number of years. Our bass player. We grew up listening. I mean, I grew up besides punk. I grew up on Celtic music. That's what we heard at home. I mean, we were a Cape Breton mining family, so I grew up on the sing songs and the sing alongs and the emotion in that. and then playing with really killer musicians like Nathan Mahaffey, our drummer. Just picture perfect playing. Alexandra Bell, our singer, keyboardist, doing duets with her is magic, and Ian McKendry is a monster guitar player. So when we approach a song, I mean, I think we've got the chops, whether it's country, whether it's bluegrass, whether it's traditional, or whether right now we're playing a lot of really loud rock and roll, and I'm playing electric almost full time.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, like as you start to kind of go through the history of some of your members, it makes complete sense. Like I am hearing a lot of old rock and roll in there. I am hearing the country probably from Stomping Tom, and it just really actually melds wonderfully together, which is fantastic.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, it's to me, it's like the song's got to be honest and truthful. One of the things I think we've started since, certainly since the Summer Before the Storm album, is trying to knit the albums more into a theme. The Last Call for Cinderella had a whole bunch of ambience. It's slightly different than the new album. Revolution uh, has a real particular, this moment the world's on fire, folks, you got to get your act together, and you can sense the urgency. But each of the albums over the years have had different approaches, different ways that we were interested in things at the time. Whether some albums, the Great Divide album was really heavy on, we had a great guitar player, Dave Patterson, who died just a few years ago, and he was a beautiful, sounded like one of those mountain singers from West Virginia, his voice, and a beautiful slide player. So that was very much part of the sound then, because
mhm.
you're using the skills of the people who and what they bring to the sound. Each member brings something new and different, and that's what makes it exciting. That's why I want to play.
Oh yeah, exactly. Now I have to ask, the name, the Grievous Angels, it's unforgettable. Where did that even come from?
Well, we all joke about it that it was the worst name we ever gave a band. Um, it's from The Return of the Grievous Angel by Graham Parsons,
Okay.
and it was just on the eve of the great Graham Parsons revival. Like for a while, Graham Parsons, I mean, he was brilliant. He died at, like, I don't know, early 20s. He influenced everybody. And the song "The Return of the Grievous Angel" was just, we loved that song. We loved the Graham Parsons, the Flying Burrito Brothers, and then we named ourselves the Grievous Angels. Put out our first record, and then already there was another band in the United States calling themselves the Grievous Angels,
Oh,
and then there's, I don't know, 100 new bands called Grievous Angels right now. But it's kind of been us ever since. And again, we didn't do it to be to. We don't do covers of it. We're not all that interested in trying to pretend we're Graham Parsons with the Emmylou Harris
yeah.
vocals. We just liked the feel of what he brought to the music, and we've never actually played the song "Grievous Angel" on stage, which I think is very perfect for us. It's like, yeah, we like the feel, but we weren't going to slavishly try and imitate it. We took it and moved on and did our own things.
I'm just thinking with Strummerfest, we're very much about giving the spotlight to the independent artists. What what do you think the biggest challenge is right now facing musicians that are working in Canada?
It we are so it is such a difficult time. I mean, I guess I was blessed to be 17 and being able to hit the road, and because we had our act together to play so many places. We used to, when we would tour the country, we would be playing from Monday to Saturday nights, in at big venues. I mean, the live music scene has disappeared. I think the threat from AI is existential in its nature. I've been saying to people, I don't care how bad you sing. I don't care how bad you write or write poetry. Do not let Chat GPT do it for you. Don't listen to AI generated music. Either we have art or we are no longer human beings. So it's very difficult, I think, for young artists right now. There are some good things, like Bandcamp certainly is a great forum for being able to get your own product out. And I'm not going to say it was great in the old days in terms of, we
Yeah.
were always independent because you got nothing back from the record company. I mean, we signed one record to one record deal, and we still didn't make money years later, even though it was selling well. So artists have always had the difficult time. But boy, there was a time when I used to get regular royalties for radio play. I think CBC has completely abandoned its interest in a lot of the music that used to get played before. CBC was the reason the Grievous Angels went from being a street busking band to playing national festivals, because we got played on a morning show on national radio, and people called us. I don't often hear that kind of new music ever on CBC. It's very, very, I don't know, ticking the boxes for whatever senior management wants. So it's
Yeah,
difficult for artists. It's very difficult. That's
there's
why what Strummerfest is doing is important, like giving people the opportunity to hone their chops. Like, you can't just become a great artist. You have to come out and make stupid mistakes. You have to come out some night and one of the instrumentalists is actually playing the song in a different key because he forgot to put the capo on. Yeah, I've done that. That's
what
happened
yeah,
to us.
what's been the stupidest mistake that you've made on stage?
Well, I remember being in front. Well, it wasn't our stupid mistake, but it happened. I remember being in front of, like, I don't know, 15,000 people in Winnipeg, and we were the first band on to rock the show. And
Yeah.
all day I kept thinking of that first chord. We're going to get on that stage. I'm going to hit that first chord. I'm going to hit that first chord. And like, I was just playing it out in my, this was a big moment. And then there was this massive rainstorm that only the prairies get. They struck the stage and they said, "Don't worry, it'll all be clear." And so we came out and I hit that first chord and there was nothing. And then I hit it again. And I hit it again. And the tech guys were looking around and the audience watches for about a minute and then they start talking. And once they start talking, it doesn't matter when you hit the chord, you never get that crowd back. And it turned out that when they were putting everything back in, they just forgot to put the guitar back in. And so they got it. The show
Yeah.
went on, but it went from being like a show with this level of energy to down there. And, you know, that's life.
Yeah.
That's life. Like, I remember being at the Junos when, who was it? The gal from Broken Social Scene. What's her
Hmm.
name? She got up and the guitar went out. And it
Oh,
was
no way.
live on television. And I was like, here we go. This is what when a pro steps up. And she just started. She took the song with her vocals as though she wanted not to have the guitar working. Um, uh, and it was just that's you can only learn that by having it
Well,
happen
yeah,
to you, right? Like,
exactly.
those mistakes are the things that you learn.
And you
Screwing
take
up
on
the
to the next
timing
show.
and
Yeah.
yeah, like, you gotta be willing to make big mistakes on stage, and you gotta be willing to not ever blink. You just carry on. So, yeah, that's again punk rock university.
Yeah. Have you
Feist, that was it. It was Feist. Feist was on stage, and it was my first time
okay.
seeing her. And the guitar died because something happened at the board. It wasn't her fault, but you wouldn't have known it. She had 2.5 minutes to hold that crowd, and she held that crowd. You can
Wow.
only do that by having that time of
That
learning and
experience,
making
yeah.
mistakes. Yeah.
Do you find that people seem to be looking for a more human connection as of recent, as opposed to all the algorithm music that's been played over the last 10 years?
I absolutely think so. Now, I don't know what a younger audience does because the younger audience has grown up with this. Our audience tends to be older.
Yeah.
Uh, but I find when young people come up, they're like, "Oh my God, this is wild. You guys are playing your instruments." But I think there's a real yearning for a voice, and we don't have that voice. We don't have that voice of our generation. I don't see like the Joe Strummer out there. Now, someone could say, "Well, you're not paying attention to the music that's coming up," but I mean, Joe Strummer changed my life.
Yeah.
I used to say my two biggest political influences were Tommy Douglas and Joe Strummer, not in that order. To watch somebody, to see them grow. Bruce Springsteen, I saw him when I was 16, changed my life. And I still watch The Boss and think, right now,
Yeah.
he's one of those few voices in America. So it's so important to have the honest, that connection that you feel you know them and you want to go see what they're going to do. And what are they going to do tonight? I don't know. It's going to be great. We're going to try it out, and maybe they'll try something new. Maybe they'll step out on a limb. I'm there with them.
Yeah. I, I I can't, I still can't fathom how those that are making music from AI could actually go in and perform in front of a crowd whatsoever. Like I see, like I just you need a band to back you.
Yeah, yeah,
Like it doesn't make sense to me. Like maybe somebody uh, has some musical ability and can sing and puts a little bit of that backing, but I can't imagine going to see that show and how it actually connect with that individual, and especially not knowing where the lyrics have actually even come from, to be honest.
yeah. No, it's I always think we ended up in this funny place, the Grievous Angels. We started out street busking, then we went and we were playing in the punk bars, but doing sort of Hank Williams kind of and Cajun kind of stuff. We wanted to go simple, and then suddenly we were getting gigs at festivals, and then we fell into this thing of touring across the country where we would go into northern Ontario to these wild country and western bars, places like where Shania Twain, when she
Yeah.
was 8 years old, her mom would bring her at 1 o'clock in the morning to the Maple Leaf Hotel in Timmins, where Stomp and Tom got to start. She'd get up at 1 o'clock and sing in the morning. 1 o'clock in the morning at the Maple Leaf Hotel was an insane time. Places like that in Sudbury, places like that in Thunder Bay. And that was the best education because you didn't know what you were going to do that night. You had to play 5 sets, 8 on Saturday. You had a completely cross section of age. It wasn't just young people like in the city, it was everybody, people coming from work, people dancing, people shouting out for covers. And so, yeah, you jumped on the tables, you tried stuff you hadn't tried before. Someone got up, they wanted to sing with the band. Like, I always said people came to see us. We always say we come to see the audience. To us, watching a crowd is great. That's why the song on Last Call for Cinderella, the
Hmm.
song Last Call for Cinderella, is about being a wedding. We're the song The Last Wedding Band, and it's about us being this band that you get hired at a wedding, and we played weddings too, and they're bizarre, and that nobody's paying attention to the band, but we're watching the crowd and we're paying attention to each other. If that's at the end of the day, that's all you've got from music. You're not going to make a big career, but if you can get up and you like who you're playing with, and it means something, uh, then that's why you do it, and that's what art is.
Who is one band or performing artist that people should be listening to right now that might not be on their radar?
Hmm. Oh, there's. I don't know. It comes to the last thing I heard. I'm gonna say my wife bought this Orville Peck album, and I was like, what? What's with that? Come on. And then she put it on. I was like, actually, this is really good. How come I didn't know that?
I'm not familiar with Orville Peck. I'm gonna have to check out his music
Well, he's
after.
this weird
What
country
what's
guy who
this?
wears a
Yeah.
mask, but I was like, who is this? Because she was listening to it. But there's so many great artists out there, and we get to see some of them when we're playing. So my mind's a little blank now, but there
Yeah,
are
I
great
know when
people
there's
out there.
so many great artists that come across your path, it's hard to say who's the one that you should be listening to, but sometimes it's just who you're listening to last might be the right answer.
Okay, well, actually, I'll give you one. It's Anthony Shamanthony,
Oh
who
yeah,
played Strummerfest a couple years ago,
Golf Boy.
and I just the guitar and a bass drum, and I was like, wow,
Yeah, no,
that
he
is
has got such a unique sound. And
yeah.
like, have you just seen him on his own, or have you seen him with?
I just saw him on his own
Yeah,
at
yeah,
Strummerfest, and he blew me away. And
yeah.
Caleb Hickel, uh, Sun
I don't know.
Harmonic, I think that's the
Okay,
band.
yeah.
Man, that was the album that got me through COVID. And he played a show with us recently at the Horseshoe Tavern, and he was just beautiful to play with.
Oh, that's one, just going to see a show at the Horseshoe is something. To say that you've been there, but to actually be on stage, that's something completely different.
Well,
That's
the very first show I ever saw was at I was 15 years old. Of course, nobody checked for ID
no,
at the Horseshoe.
it was a different time.
It's a different time, yeah. I mean, we just played the Horseshoe about 2 months ago, and I don't know how many times I've played the horseshoe over the years. So when I saw that Shania Twain said that the one thing she felt she'd never done in her music career, as big as it is, was play the horseshoe tower, and I was like, wow, Shania should have called. I would have gotten you in. We play we. But it's again the famous checkerboard floor. There's
Yeah.
something on that stage, like you're playing in a place of history.
No, you really are. Listen, we always like to finish up the show with a bit of a rapid fire round. It's a very unscientific way to get to know you, but it's fast and it's easy, and it's kind of an A or B answer. I might ask shoes or boots, and then you'd pick boots.
Okay,
And it's just kind of a lot of fun, and it's just a nice way to end off the show. Um, let's get started.
okay.
Joe Strummer or Woody Guthrie?
Ooh, ooh. Well, Joe Strummer called himself Woody, so if I say Joe, then I get Woody as well.
Woody, yeah, I like that. Festival stage or intimate theater?
Well, I want to get back on a festival stage really badly, so I'm going to say festival stage, but either that or a dive.
Nice. Northern Ontario Highway or downtown city street?
Well, your chances of getting killed on a downtown city street aren't nearly as bad as a Northern Ontario highway. And in the winter, Northern Ontario highways are nightmares, but that's the road I drive.
Gotcha. First draft lyrics or endless rewrites?
Um, I've written a few first draft lyric songs that I remember I wrote two songs on a sheet of drywall on a workspace, and they were the songs for the album. Um, I think songs always should be rewritten, not endlessly. So I don't down the middle.
Yeah. No, at some point you just have to say it's ready.
It's ready. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No
exactly.
endless rewrites. If it's endless rewrites, it's not there.
No, exactly. Road coffee or backstage beer?
Well, road coffee often sucks, so backstage beer, especially when you're driving through New Brunswick and having to load up at the Irvings.
Musical precision or capturing a genuine emotional moment?
The genuine emotional moment beats any
Yeah.
day.
A protest song that changes one person's mind or a party song that gets 500 people singing?
Ah, it depends what you need to do on a given day. I mean, I'm a man for the protest song that can change your mind, but sometimes a party song has got to get people going too. So, they both have their place. I
Yeah.
try and write both.
With writing lyrics on drywall, I think I might know the answer to this next one. But writing lyrics on a crumpled notebook page or capturing an idea on a voice memo before it disappears.
I've started voice memos. You know
Oh,
why?
yeah.
Because I've written entire songs in my head and then thought it was so perfect and then gave it a day and then I couldn't remember a single line. I mean, entire songs that just were there and disappeared. So I've started using voice memos now. I'm in the grocery store. I'm like, I got to mark this down. Otherwise, it may
It's
not be
gone.
there. So,
No,
yeah.
exactly. Sometimes you just don't have a pen and paper,
Yeah.
and now everybody's got a phone in their pocket, and
Yeah.
it makes it so much easier. So
And I'm
interesting.
not the perfect person. Like some people have to have the perfect cup of coffee, the perfect pencil, the perfect. No, a song comes to you and it's like you either capture it because it literally can disappear, and I don't know where it goes
Oh,
because it was
agreed.
there, but it's gone.
Yeah, sometimes I'm writing down lyrics and I might jot down just a couple notes, just thinking I'm going to remember this, and I come back to it then, like
And it's
honestly, the
yeah,
next day, and it's just gone.
it's gone. Yeah.
Yeah. If you could borrow one musician's tour van for a month, would it be the band in 1975 or the Clash in 79?
Well, I think there'd probably be more room in the band's band van, and I probably toured in a van just like the Clash, so I know what it looks like. I've been there.
And
I've been there and done that and slept on the floor of the van, the Econoline. Yeah.
last but not least, a thrift store guitar missing a couple of knobs or a brand new custom shop guitar that's almost too perfect to scratch.
Um, I I don't do perfect guitars. So I just bought this beautiful Epiphone
Yeah.
that is a real 1960s guitar, and I wanted to get a Gretsch. That was my dream. And it was an old guitar tech, and he looked at me and he said, "Are you a guy who really pays a lot of attention to your guitar?" And I said, "Nope." He said, "You got time on stage to twiddle?" And I said, "Nope." And he goes, "A Gretsch is just going to break your heart." And I said, "That's what I thought." And he said, "So stay away from it." And it was beautiful. And the Epiphone, it's an old 60s rocker guitar. And when I get on stage, I don't want to fiddle. So, yeah, anything that's too perfect, it's not good enough.
Yeah, no, I can appreciate what you're saying there. I've got a Gretsch over my back shoulder right now and completely understand what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah. He
All right,
just
so
said it's going to break your heart. And I said,
mhm.
I knew that. I'm glad you told me that because
So are you?
I was totally in love, but it would have broken my heart.
Oh, that's beautiful. Listen, that's been another episode of Backstage Lowdown. We're extremely excited about having you out to Strummerfest. Thanks for coming out and doing the show today.
Well, thank you. And of course, Grievous Angels Revolution album with Ron Hawkins. You can get it on Bandcamp, and we send out, and we can get
That's
the digital
beautiful. Are you
CD.
bringing any copies to the show?
We will have copies of that. We have copies of Last Call for Cinderella, Summer Before the Storm. I think we have 22 Trailer Park with us, and we have a few copies of Great Divide left, which is we're arguing about whether to reissue or record a new record. So
So it's time to get it then.
yeah, yeah,
Awesome. Well, hey, listen, thank you so much. I'll be out for the evening that you're performing. I'm going to be the guy with the camera in the audience.
awesome.
So I'll be sure to
We
say
can't wait to
hi.
get back to Strummerfest. Great festival, great
Yeah.
work,
Yeah.
great people. Yeah, so we're
No,
glad that we can participate.
I really appreciate you just taking the time out today to have a chat.